Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here and I'm so glad you clicked on today's video. We are going to be talking about all the books I'm hoping to read by the end of 2024, which is so crazy to be saying. I can't believe we're more than halfway through the year already. Like, where has the time gone? And I feel like I say that in almost every wrap-up video, every TBR video. I'm always like, where the heck has the time gone? And I also feel like the older I get, the faster time flies by, and I don't like that one bit. Anyways, I thought it'd be fun to sit down and have a cozy little book talk sesh. My reading goal for 2024 is to read 50 books. I've read 26 books so far, so technically, if I were to complete this TBR list, I will have completed my reading goal for the year, which is super exciting. I've actually been using Fable to track my reads over the past few months because it is just such an aesthetically pleasing app. But I also created a list on there that is my end of the year TBR, and it has all these books on there as well. They happen to be the sponsor of today's video. If you've seen any of my videos over the past year, you've probably heard me talk about Fable because I'm literally obsessed with this app. You need Fable in your life, guys. I'm not even kidding. It is the ultimate bookish app. It has everything and more that a book lover could literally ask for. Something that originally drew me to Fable, and this may be controversial to say, Goodreads is so outdated, guys. I've been checking my books for years on Goodreads, and the main reason why I stuck with them for so long is because I didn't want to go in and relog all of my books and book reviews in a different app. With Fable, it is so easy, and they do it so seamlessly by actually transferring your data from Goodreads to their app directly. They literally do it within minutes. Fable was able to take all of my ratings, reviews, and stuff like that and put it directly into their app. Plus, they're always rolling out new updates weekly to improve their interface and provide more community features. It's like a dream app because they basically created like a bookish social media. So one of my favorite parts of Fable is that you can filter, sort, and search lists. You're also able to create a yearly reading goal, which is really fun. You can give half-star ratings, which is such a big deal, guys. I have loved doing this. And then when you're reading a book, you're also able to update your progress throughout it, which I think is really fun. A really cool feature that Fable offers is reading streaks, and basically you can track every single day if you read or not. This kind of just motivates me to read more every day and like pick up my book every day. When you guys have heard me talk about Fable in the past, it's always been about my book club. They also have book clubs on the app, and you can join book clubs or you can actually create your own. I just think it makes reading really fun. You're able to talk to other members about books and reviews. Another really cool feature they have is they offer reader horoscopes based on your previous reads and stats, and I just think that's really cool because they basically recommend books to you that they think you would like based on previous books you've liked. Overall, Fable is literally the best app ever for book lovers. It's so easy to join as well. All you have to do is download the Fable app. Once you're in the app and you log in, all you have to do is transfer your data over from Goodreads to Fable. It literally takes minutes. It's so easy peasy, and then you get to start tracking your reads on the cutest little bookish app ever. I'll have everything linked down below for you guys though. Definitely check it out. With all that being said, let's hop in to my end of the year TBR. I quite literally don't know where to start, to be honest, because there's so many books. I feel like 25 books doesn't seem like a lot, and then when I actually put them like in my arms, I'm like, oh, that's a lot of books. We're just gonna roll with it, guys. They're kind of all mixed together. I don't have them organized in a good way. You know what? I actually do have a lot of romance in here. I think it's only fitting that we start off with a romance book. We have Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. She's one of my favorite authors. I can't believe I haven't read this book yet, honestly. I'm just as shocked as you guys are. Not in Love is her newest romance book, and I know I'm gonna love it because it's Ali Hazelwood. I love everything that woman puts out. I'm not even kidding. I don't know what it's about, to be honest. I don't think I ever know what her books are about. I go into every book oh my gosh, this is signed. I didn't know this edition came signed. Anyways, to be completely honest, I don't think I ever know what her books are about. I usually go into them completely blind. I think that's really cool because I end up loving all of her books. Our FMC is Rue though. She basically is a super successful biotech engineer at this company called Klein. And I guess her company is like one of the most promising startup companies in the food science field. She seems to be very content in her life and her world at the moment until a man comes in and threatens everything for her. We're then introduced to our MMC Eli. Him and his business basically partner with Klein, and he wants to like bring the company down or change it completely, something along those lines. Basically though, it would affect Rue's job and part in the company. That's basically her reasoning for not liking him, but they can't stop thinking about one another. Sounds like a typical Ali Hazelwood romance, and I know I'm gonna eat it up. This character art also is everything. Next up, we have City City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I bought this book a few months ago. This is a universe that I have been dying to jump into probably since I was in middle school. I'm not even kidding. So this is City of Bones, The Mortal Instruments. It's book 1 in the series. I originally saw the movie many years ago with Miss Lily Collins. I think that was one of the movies that started my obsession with her, and now the fact that she's Emily in Paris. Anyways, I saw this movie a super long time ago. I was absolutely obsessed with it. It was one of those movies that I kind of made my entire personality at the time. I was just in love with every part of it. A lot of Cassandra Clare enthusiasts and lovers despise that movie. They say that the book is 10 times better and that in the movie they just did so many things wrong, I guess. I really want to go in and start the series, see what I was missing out on when watching the movies, because everyone raves about this series. They rave about this author, especially diving into it in like the fall time, cozy season. I feel like the vibes are just going to be immaculate. When Clary Faye heads out to a club in New York City, she hardly expects to witness a murder, much less a murder committed by 3 teenagers covered with odd markings. This is Clary's first meeting with the Shadow Hunters, warriors dedicated to ridding the earth of demons and keeping the odd werewolves and vampires in line. It's also her first meeting with gorgeous golden-haired Jace. Within 24 hours, Clary is pulled into Jace's world with a vengeance when her mother disappears and Clary herself is attacked by a demon. But why would demons be interested in an ordinary mundane like Clary? And how did she suddenly get the sight? The Shadow Hunters would like to know. So excited for this. I feel like this would be really fun to read and then maybe go back and rewatch the movie and compare the two. I have a feeling I'm probably going to like the book more, but at the same time I feel like the movie will always have a special place in my heart just because it was something I was so obsessed with. Next up we have Thrive by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is a part of the Addicted and Calloway Sister series. This is book 6 in the series. I think I read Hot House Flower earlier this year, if I'm remembering correctly. So it's been a few months though. I've kind of been itching to like dive back into these characters and their stories. With this book though, we're diving back into the Addicted series, which is all about Lily and Lo. I do feel like I'm kind of craving some Lily and Lo content, but at the same time, Lo was just a little bit insufferable in Hot House Flower. Hopefully in this book, I kind of like fall in love with him again, because I do really adore his and Lily's relationship. I just love how much he cares and takes care of her. Everyone kind of knows their business and is always gossiping about them, and I think what happens in this book is there's like fake rumors that are made up about Lily, and she kind of starts to retreat back into a really dark headspace. Lo is super determined to pull her out of it and kind of keep their relationship as strong as possible. I feel like this is going to be a book that is just reinforcing their relationship, their growth, how they're navigating their addictions and their struggles. We have Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is another shocking book that I haven't read yet. I am obsessed with Divine Rivals. That was one of my favorite books of last year. Obsessed. Literally made it my entire personality. That book and Powerless by Lauren Roberts actually won like #1 books of the year for me. I don't know what happened. I did pick this book up when it came out. I read I think like 7 chapters of it and then I forgot about it. I don't know why. I don't know what happened, but I kind of just put it down and forgot about the book. And I do think it's partly because when it came out, so many people were reading it, reviewing it, rating it, and so many people were saying how disappointed they were with this book. I think it kind of scared me a little bit. So I got like 6 or 7 chapters in and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pretend I didn't read that. And then I neatly just put it back on my shelf and it's kind of been there ever since. I would really like to read this by the end of the year, just because I really want to know what happens next. I know there's just so much more story to go. We have Ruthless Vows on the list. If you've read this, let me know down below what you thought of it. Next up, we have This Woven Kingdom by Tara Mafi. This is a book that I am definitely looking to pick up within like the next month or so, because first off, it's Tara Mafi, one of my favorite authors. For example, the Shatter Me series. Are we kidding? It's a masterpiece. Literally amazing. Obsessed with it. I've really been itching for her writing style. I feel like her writing style is very unique and I just really love the characters and the storyline she came up with in the Shatter Me series. This is her newest series though. I think she's on book 3 or 4 of it already. I'm just ready to jump into it and see what this one holds. First thing I really like about it though is it's a Persian mythology inspired fantasy. I don't think I've ever read anything like that, so already I'm super intrigued. But our FMC is Eliza. She is like a maid or a servant in a kingdom that actually belongs belongs to her. Already crazy, already want to know what happened. She's the long lost heir to this ancient kingdom and she's forced to hide in plain sight. Our MMC is Cameron. He is the crown prince of this kingdom and he's always heard of prophecies foretelling this story of a girl coming in and killing his father and taking over the kingdom. Little did he know it was the little servant girl that he couldn't keep his eyes off of. Already getting a hint of a forbidden romance in here. I love that and I'm gonna eat it up because I eat it up without fail every time. This Woven Kingdom is a story of clashing empires, forbidden romance, and a long forgotten queen who must claw her way through darkness to reclaim her throne, rebuild her kingdom, and save her people from the half-lives they've been forced to live. Let's do a romance. We have The Score by Elle Kennedy. Guys, I'm so freaking sick of talking about this book. I have to read it so I can just move on. I have been putting this off for so long. I don't know why, because so many people say this is like their favorite book out of the series. I really want to read it because I want to know what happens in it and I want to know what Dean is all about because people rave about Dean's character and say he's like amazing and he's a sweetheart and all this stuff. It's a book I've put on my TBR over and over and over again, and for some reason I just always leave it for last on my TBR and then I just never end up picking it up. So I do think a main reason for not picking this up is book 2. It wasn't my favorite, guys. I didn't think the romance was that great. I didn't think the story was that great. I feel like after reading The Deal, which is such a popular book, most people love it, and going into book 2, it just was like the complete opposite of The Deal and it was just boring. I think it was lacking stuff for me. Since reading book 2, basically, I've been so scared to jump into book 3, but we're gonna do it, guys. We are going to do it. I don't know when. I do feel like this is gonna be a really fun book to read in the fall and winter because it's gonna be hockey season. Okay, we have, what is this called? We have book 1 and book 2 of the Gold Rush Ranch series by Elsie Silver. We have a photo finish and Off to the Races. I think it's Off to the Races book 1. It is. So Off to the Races is book 1. Photo finish is book 2. Elsie Silver, another author I talk about nonstop on my channel. I'm so sorry if you guys are sick of me talking about her. Basically, she writes really cute small town romances. The Chestnut Spring series was mostly small town romances and like cowboy romances. I read the Chestnut Spring series and absolutely loved it. I read book 1 in her newest series, which is Wild Love. Really liked that one. And now I want to jump in to her Gold Rush Ranch series. I believe this was her first book series. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think these were like her first books. I'm really excited to read them, mainly because they're in the same universe as her other book series. It's gonna be really cool to read about the world, the way she wrote about it for the first time. I also know book 2, which is a photo finish, is about Violet Eaton, who is the younger sister to the Eaton brothers. So I feel like that's gonna be really cool. I'm really excited to see what these are about and read them. I love small town romances. I love cowboy romances. Elsie Silver is also just one of those really addicting authors where you don't want to put her books down once you start them. I love authors that make me super excited to read like that. Next up, we have The Queen of Nothing by Miss Holly Black. This is all about Jude and Carden. Jude is a human girl living in the world of fairies. They absolutely despise her. They think humans are dumb and slow and boring and just like disposable things. And basically in book 1, I feel like Jude just proves everything wrong. It's pretty epic and badass. I think the politics of the world is really interesting and fun. There's an enemies to lovers in book 1 as well, which totally caught me off guard because of how much they absolutely despised each other. I'm really excited to see what happens. I've also seen a lot of people say that the romance kind of heats up in this book. We have Juniper Hill by Devney Perry. This is another book. This is another book I feel like I've been putting on my TBR over and over again. I think book 1 was my first read of 2024, so I haven't picked up this series since January. I do kind of remember book 1, but I remember it not being something like super crazy and exciting. It really was just a simple small town romance, and I think that's why I just haven't really thought of picking up book 2 yet. People are telling me that as you go on throughout the Eden series, it does get a lot better, so it is something I want to try and get through by the end of the year. This is Juniper Hill. This is book 2 in the series and it tells the story of Memphis Ward and Knox Eden, who we briefly meet in book 1. We meet Knox because he's the younger brother to our MMC in book 1, I believe. Knox is basically like a chef and a landlord. He owns like a property or something, I think. And Memphis basically moves to Quincy. She's looking for work and a home. She just wants like a fresh start. I don't know how exactly, but they spark up a romance of some sort. Yeah, that's basically all I know. I feel like these romances are super simple. I know I've only read book 1, so I don't really have a lot to really go off of. Next we have Half-Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is gonna be so fun to read in October, spooky season, witchy season. This is gonna be so much fun. This is book 1 in the Covenant series, and it tells the story of a girl named Alex. Her and her mother basically run away from the Covenant. We don't know why. We don't know if it's because of something they did or if it's because of something the Covenant did, but they run away from the Covenant, and eventually Alex makes her way back to them. When she left, she was kind of in the middle of training and classes and just learning all this stuff about it. Obviously, when she returns, she missed out on all of that training and the lessons, so they have to basically catch her up. Our MMC Aiden enters the chat and he basically offers to train Alex, but in the middle of it all, they kind of spark up a little romance. But the problem is that Aiden is a pureblood and Alex is a half-blood, and it's basically forbidden for purebloods to be with half-bloods, so we're getting a little bit of a forbidden romance in here. That's basically like the premise of it. I know there's probably going to be such a crazier and more intense story to it all. I feel like this is going to be really fun for spooky season because it's kind of like a witchy read. I also hear a lot of really good things about Jennifer L. Armentrout. She's like a super popular, raved about author, so I feel like there's a lot of potential and I feel like I have a lot of high hopes for this. Next up we have The Darkness Within Us by Trisha Levenseller. This is book 2. Book 1 is The Shadows Between Us. That book is actually on my August TBR, and then this is book 2. I really want to read both books by the end of the year just because they sound like really fun little fantasy books. Chrysanthi is our FMC in this book. She's a very intelligent girl, but she basically hides her intelligence to marry a super rich guy. She succeeds and she becomes a duchess because she wants the inheritance, but his grandson shows up out of nowhere and kind of starts sniffing around because he feels like something is very off about her. I think there's going to be a romance between the two of them. I originally got this book a part of my Fairy Loot subscription and I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds really fun. I want to read it. But I found out that it was like book 2 in a series. So I went out to get book 1 so I can read it this month and then jump into book 2 next month. She's also the author of Daughter of the Pirate King and that whole trilogy. And that's a series I hear really, really good things about. I don't know. I have high hopes about it. So I feel like it could be really cool. Next up we have Shadow and Bone. I feel like this is another super popular and fun book that a lot of people rave about. This is by Leigh Bardugo and I hear so much about her as a fantasy author. I hear a lot of people talk about Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, which is also by her, and they say really, really good things. So I wanted to read book 1, which is Shadow and Bone, and kind of see what it's all about, see if I would like the universe. Orphaned and expendable, Alina Starkov is a soldier who knows she may not survive her first trek across the Shadow Fold, a swath of unnatural darkness crawling with monsters. But when her regiment is attacked, Alina unleashes dormant magic not even she knew she possessed. Now Alina will enter a lavish world of royalty and intrigue as she trains with the Grisha, her country's magical military elite, and falls under the spell of their notorious leader, the Darkling. He believes Alina can summon a force capable of destroying the Shadow Fold and reuniting their war-ravaged country, but only if she can master her untamed gift. As the threat to the kingdom mounts and Alina unlocks the secrets of her past, she will make a dangerous discovery that could threaten all she loves and the future of a nation. That sounds really cool. I feel like this could actually be a lot of fun. We have Lovelight Farms by B.K. Borison. This is book 1 in the series, and because it takes place like in the winter time, I think it takes place during the holidays, I just feel like it's fitting for me to read it during the winter time. So I'm going to read this towards the end of the year during Christmas time, but I'm really, really excited about it because I hear a lot of people say really good things about this series. I guess just the romances in them is supposed to be so stinking cute. This is the Afterlight special edition and I am obsessed with this hardcover. I think it is so adorable and I just love like the wintry Christmas vibes it's giving off. Also, these edges are just so beautiful. I'm so excited. I feel like this is going to be an adorable little Christmas read. And then I think book 2 is like based in the springtime, and then it goes to summer, and then it goes to fall. So I hear a lot of really good things about this author and the romances she writes. We have 3 very chunky books, and they are part of the Boys of Tommen series by Chloe Walsh. I love the first 2 books in the series, Finding 13 and Keeping 13. Easily one of my top books of 2024 so far. I am obsessed with them. I'm obsessed with Shannon, obsessed with Johnny, obsessed with every single part of those books. They are so beautiful, guys. I cannot recommend those books enough. The next 2 books in the series are Saving 6 and Redeeming 6. This is all about Joey, and he is the older brother to Shannon. I hear so many people talk about Joey Lynch and his story and how beautiful it is, and so many people just love him so much. I did start Saving 6, and I think I got like almost halfway through it, but that's when it got to a point where I was like, okay, I have to like step away and take a break. They are really hard to read sometimes because of the topics that are talked about in them. It gets really sad and dark sometimes, so I decided to put it down and take a break. Book 5 is Taming 7. This is the newest book to come out recently, and it's all about Gibbsy and Claire. They are the best friends to Johnny and Shannon. I fell in love with Gibbsy and Claire in book 1. I literally was obsessed with them, so the fact that they have their own book makes me very excited. The last 3 books I have to share with you guys are a part of a series. I did read book 1, but I did not read book 2 or 3. I actually want to reread book 1 and then go into 2 and 3 because a show just came out recently based on this series, and I feel like it'd be so fun in the fall time to go in, read the whole series, and then watch the show. We have the Good Girls Guide to Murder trilogy by Holly Jackson. Book 1 is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and this book I read almost 2 years ago, I want to say, so that's kind of why I want to go in and reread it to kind of refresh my memory on it. But I remember really liking it. Book 2 is The Good Girl Bad Blood. This is continuing on Pip's story, I think after high school when she goes away to college. I believe she starts a podcast of some sort. And last but not least, we have As Good as Dead, and I quite literally don't know what this one entails, but it's another book I hear really weird things about. Some people love it, and some people are like super disappointed with it and don't like how Pip's character was written. I feel like this is going to be really cool to read once I get through book 1 and book 2. But that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. Don't forget to leave me recommendations down below because I am definitely open to adding more books to my end of the year TBR. We have around 25 books here to read by the end of the year, and I feel like it's very doable as long as I don't get into a reading slump. So we will see. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you guys in the next one.